All right, all right. What's up, everyone? This is your host, Eco Arc Shaw, and I'm beyond excited to have you this evening for another Hidden Secrets Live. If you didn't know, Hidden Secrets was created to help entrepreneurs learn from marketplace leaders that have harnessed and maximized their God given superpowers into the world. And the guest that we have on tonight is definitely one of those people. I promise you, if I could equate him to anybody in the Bible, because I might get a little biblical, because this man is like a sage. This man is like lifetime Solomon right now because the level of wisdom and knowledge he has at such a youthful age is just it's inspiring. But before I go into his bio, as you always hear me say, I got some housekeeping rules. I need you to engage, engage, and engage because we want to hear your thoughts. We want to see your questions so we can answer them in the chat. So any given time while we're going through this conversation and you have a question, put it in the chat. And guess what? We're going to respond to you live time in the chat so we can make sure we have those questions answered. Next up, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Eco Art, to get updates on this weekly. And then, of course, if you want to have access to some of our amazing workshops, our think tank sessions, webinars, updates on all things business and startups, click the link that I'm dropping in the chat right now so you can stay up to date and you can be part of the rainmaking society that we have going on over here. So now that I got that basic stuff out the way, let's talk about the man of the hour here. So, Joseph Butler is a businessman born and raised in Fort Washington, Maryland. Following in his parents' footsteps, Joseph became an entrepreneur during his preteen years. In his preteen years, y'all. Some of y'all ain't become entrepreneurs till y'all 50. Y'all still got opportunity. But if you became an entrepreneur when you was a preteen, you different. So after finishing college, he found networking as a key essential thing to long-term success. He now has global a global sales team in the hundreds. He also continues to grow the family business through his own company's Sports Heaven brand. And Joseph has always had a passion for pouring into the youth, mentoring them by sports, spiritual outreach, and now through entrepreneurship. He's a confidence coach in partnership with Epic Art Universe. And to many, he's a friend. To a few, he's a mentor. And to his wife, Leslie, and children, King and Dream, he's a dad. So we're so happy to have you on here, Joey. I'm gonna call you Joey because that's what I call you. But yeah, man, like I said, you're a living legend right now, man. How you feeling tonight?
Man, I'm feeling good. We went from custom suits to a custom tailored life, man, and I'm excited that you have been seems like there for me since I kind of started taking this spiritual entrepreneurship journey serious. And you helped me customize the clothes. I've been to your events. You helped me customize my digital thought processing for my company, and here we are on your podcast. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm excited to have you too because guess what? I'm gonna be really taking live time notes myself. So if I'm silent and you see the screen moving, it's because I'm like typing like crazy. All right. But yeah, before we get into everything, I know I gave the professional bio and you're the amazing dad, amazing husband, entrepreneur, but describe to me who you believe Joey is.
Woo! I'm gonna start with the end of the bio. First of all, I'm Leslie's husband. There's no greater job, no greater assignment, no greater thing I'd rather do than just kick it with her. So, well, first off, I'm a husband. I'm a father of two amazing children. King is four, Dream is one. Dream was the preemie, so she took us on a nice ride through the NICU, and that built a lot of faith in my wife and I, and that's really who I am, someone who believes in things they can't see. And I've always, because of my parents, been in environments where faith has been a part of the conversation. Even at a young age, I might not have even known that faith was in the middle of being a Boy Scout. Faith was in the middle, obviously, of singing in the choir. Faith was in the middle of sports. Faith was in the middle of the family. Faith was in the middle of the family business. My dad quit his job. I didn't even really know what that meant. I just knew my play area in the house went from being a play area to a business area. But there was faith for him to leave a government contracting job with a clearance
Mm,
to come home and print $7 t-shirts. So faith
mm,
has just always been a part of our makeup, and I'm blessed to have parents, siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles, friends of the family who always created that village where it wasn't something that was second guessed when we lived on faith.
Man, that's beautiful because faith is the foundation of it all. And the fact that it was instilled in you when you were that young, and not only being told about it, but you actually actively saw somebody walk in faith, that's big. From government contracts to $7 t shirts, everybody was probably calling him crazy.
We should have charged like 8.25, made that. Warren Buffett would have said, just mark it up just a little bit. But my dad started off in the church, so he did right by the church by cutting him that deal. But yeah, man, big step of faith. He's still running on that same decision to this day with his t-shirt printing business that we run together.
Yeah, man, I love it. I definitely love it. And, faith being the foundation of it all actually brings us to what made you choose the path of entrepreneurship?
I always have these weird thoughts. I got kids, so I wake up. I always woke up early, but I'm always up at times of the night that, I can't see nothing in the house. It's completely dark. I'm always up at odd hours, and so one of the things that I have seen is that I wasn't in heaven making this decision to be this type of person. I didn't pick these gifts. I didn't pick these talents. These were bestowed upon me.
Mm,
So I don't know if I ever decided I wanted to take sugar out of my mom's cabinet, country time lemonade mix over here, put it together and sell it on the playground at 7 years old. I don't know if I made that decision because most kids want to consume. There's candy in the room and you got a kid. The last thing they're thinking is, "Hey man, let's run it up," right? But that's how my mind worked at 7. I don't know where that came from. Um, but even to this day, I can be in a room and see how two people can work together, whether it's simultaneous with me or hey, those two should probably work together, right? So
mm.
I don't know when that happened. I just believe that it's a gift from God, and I every day I strive to connect people. Every day I strive to sometimes solve problems that might even not know that this is a problem yet, right? And
Mm.
that is I didn't read a book and say, oh man, I should do this. No, it just has always been a part of the fabric of who I am, and I give thanks to my parents because they always talked about side hustle, always talked about not working for the man, right? And so the thought was always there, but the actual practice, I can't tell you other than the first day I looked in that cabinet and saw some money to be able to start a business on the playground of my elementary school. I don't know when I decided that entrepreneurship was the thing for me. I just knew that my friends and I were tired of sneaking in the teachers' lounge trying to get candy out of the vending machine, and I just too many PS 74s were written, and I said, you know what? Maybe I could make some money on these playgrounds by mixing some of this stuff that was already at home. So I know one thing that really helped me when the pandemic started, I couldn't get the stuff I needed for my business because it wasn't being made in other countries. It wasn't coming across on ships or being flown over. That stuff had been shut down. So I had access to what I had. And so that same mindset I had at 7 helped me and my family thrive during the pandemic. What do we have? What do clients need? Let's put it together. And we got to sell what we already have. So we were making money off things that we had paid for years before, but we had it stocked on our shelves. And so that same gift of being able to look at things and put them together and turn it into something that the end user wants. That decision at 7, that vision, that gift at 7, I was using at 35, 36 when the world shut down.
Man, that's incredible because for one, I mean, me personally, the pandemic smacked me in the face because everything I was buying was overseas, right? And the fact that you predicted a problem before it even happened, even if you didn't say, hey, there was going to be a pandemic that was coming
Yeah.
together to do that. But before we even get into like your business now, because like you said, it wasn't even really a decision. I want to learn, like, I want to see the joy that was 7 years old doing this business stuff. Like, what was that first business that you started, and what was that experience like as a preteen?
uh, I can't tell you. I'm trying to think. What did I do with the money? because I was making some money. But literally, my friends had a problem. We couldn't get our candy from our source, which was, the teachers' lounge. And we're first, second, third grade. We ain't like our pockets on our jeans ain't but this big. We ain't coming in with bags of candy and it's like, you know what, I'm gonna put my Skittles in my. Nah, we wasn't big enough. It was everybody would ask us for the Skittles because they could see it hanging out of our pocket, right? So I we had this thing called Fun Dip, right? So you get the candy, you get the white candy stick, and then you get 3 packets of, let's say, red, blue, green, and each powder color had its own little section in the Fun Dip pack. Something you get off the ice cream truck, uh, right? Just a regular candy, right? Like Skittles, like M&M. It was a type of candy. So I saw in my house we had Kool-Aid. Whether that Kool-Aid was, I'm gonna say colors, whether it was red, blue, green, it doesn't matter. And mix that with the sugar, I can make my own version of Fun Dip. So instead of my friends having to run to the ice cream truck or run into the teacher's lounge and try to hurry up and throw their 50 cents in the machine and hit the button and get their candy out or try to get a soda out, I'm already meeting you with the product, on school grounds at recess or at lunch, right? So that was the first that was the first business until I got called to the principal's office. Once OSHA shut me down, I was toast. I was toast. But I don't even know how long I was in business, but the experience alone taught me so much about the transaction. Seeing that end user smile, right? It was something that it did to me. It was like the currency wasn't the money, it was the emotional attachment that me and the client had, me and my classmate had, right? And I always wanted to be in the middle of transactions. I always wanted to be a part of transactions, whether I'm learning, whether I'm earning, right? I like to do both at the same time, but it doesn't always work that way. So, as a 7-year old, like I said, I don't know what I did with the money, but the one thing I remember is that when that person got that solution in their hand, got that candy in their hand, they didn't have the problem they had before they met me, right? So I believe entrepreneur slash problem solver is a lane I try to stay in, no matter how big or how small the problem is. Neighbor got a problem, can't get their trash cans clean. Who do I know that cleans trash cans, right? Not for the simple fact that I want to get paid off the transaction. I just like being in the middle of the transaction, right? Because I don't know what the return on investment is for finding a solution for somebody, right? When I got into the networking game, I was taught something called giver's gain, right? Those that give the most gain the most. Well, I don't want to stay in the lane of gaining forever, right? I don't want to just, oh, what can I get? What can I get? I'm not networking for what I can get. I'm networking for what I can give. Because what I can get, I can't measure what I can get. So I don't even try to look at it as a gainer. I'm always in the lane of giving, right? Because I know for sure, whether it's biblically or whether it's just the law of the land, when someone does something for you, you feel like, how can I pay them back? I want to pay them back, whether it's now or down the road, right? So in my mind, let me just stay in as many people's mind as the person that gave me this, the person that connected me with this person, the person that I had a problem when I met him. I no longer had a problem after I met him. I want to be in that lane. I want to be thought of in everybody's mind as, oh no, he helped me get the solution. Because as I'm gaining, my son will gain, my daughter will gain, my wife will gain, my family will gain, right? My friends will gain, right? My network will gain. So I just stay in that lane. I want to be in as many transactions as possible, and it's been a fruitful life for me to live that way.
Uh, Make sure you put that fire out that's behind you because you just dropped so much. it it's insane. Like I I'm not exaggerating. The amount of notes and the amount of questions I have at this point is just amazing because the first thing that you were talking about that really stuck out to me, as far as the candy is like at that age, you were able to identify a gap in the market, right? Something that you
Right,
can bring directly to your consumer so they wouldn't have to
right,
sneak to the vending machine. And then you created it into your own, into a
right,
niche. And I mean, here's the thing. where did them second graders have where did they get money from? Like for you to be able to facilitate a transaction to a second grader, they don't got no job. I don't even think I had an allowance at that age. So for you to be able to figure out how to get money from a second grader is different. But the thing that
Yeah,
I love about what you said was that you almost got addicted to the emotional experience that you saw them have from you being that middleman, and
yeah,
how it created that desire to be able to be the middleman in all those transactions and not necessarily to get anything, because of course during that time it was, a transaction of capital, but over time how it's naturally converted into something where you have a giving spirit, right? And more importantly, like you were saying, it's like it 10x over time because of the expectation
mhm,
that it naturally, because you gave, people wanted to give back to you, and typically more abundantly, right?
yeah.
And so I want us to come up to where we are today, because now you said that you 35. How old are you, Joey?
I'll be 39 in August.
Oh, snap. See, look, I thought I saw a little great thing going on
You
right
see,
there.
see, that ain't from the book of Proverbs. That's from the book of the IRS right there. That's that's for a living right there.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. So you've built not one, but two successful businesses. And
Mhm,
I know combined they do over seven figures, potentially even
mhm.
multiple. I'm not going to ask you to disclose your income, right? Because Uncle Sam is always watching. But
For sure.
talk to us about what are the businesses, and what has your experience been like actually building the traditional businesses now that you have technically come of age and started businesses that are in the world, not in the school.
Yeah. So our company, Sports Heaven Brand, is more of our umbrella company. We do t-shirt printing and branding. I help businesses and leaders create clothing. We call it conversation starter clothing. So we're going to launch a campaign soon that's called the anti-logo campaign. And essentially, we
Mm,
want to move clothing away from just putting the logo on it to putting conversation starter words on it or phrases on it, right? That'll make someone in the middle of a Chipotle line say, "Hey, help me sell my house," or you know what, I do need to get something notarized, right? Whereas a logo, looking at like the Nike logo, it doesn't really tell you anything about the company, right?
mm,
So, and I've been doing that since I was probably in my teens, just working at my parents' store without even knowing that I was helping people turn their clothing from just an order into a profit for their company, right?
mm,
Under that umbrella, we have a clothing brand. I'm wearing one of the pieces now. The company is called Ambition FTP. The FTP stands for the people. And just off of the things we talked about earlier, I live for the people. I try to do things for the people. I try to build things for the people. So that's why we call it the clothing line Ambition for the people. So because we curate clothes for others, over time it was just like I couldn't find a clothing brand or a certain type of feel that I could find in the stores I was shopping in that I wanted to stand behind and that I always wanted to wear, that I was following every time they dropped something. I couldn't find that, so I created it. So our clothing brand is built for anyone who's going after their dreams, hopes, desires, and you need a uniform to remind you of what you need to go after. You need some ambition. So under that umbrella as well, we do basketball training. Um, and basketball training is more life coaching for the clients that I deal with. Most of them are in elementary, middle, and high school. And we use basketball as a way to communicate life skills, life lessons. Easier learned on the basketball court than learning them in life. Can you still hear me?
yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. And so those are my traditional businesses, which are under the umbrella Sports Heaven brand. And I when I hear I've built, I run from I because I'm nothing without my team. I could run down dozens of family members who have worked at my parents' store and their t-shirt printing business, which my business falls under pretty much. Um, People in the community who have connected us with certain clients that allow us to have financial increase and overflow and have substantial business practice because of someone putting me in the middle of a transaction, right? So I can't say I built. I can say I got the EIN number. I can say I pay the contractors. I can say uh I helped build the team, but I can't say I. And because I can't say uh I'm always looking to be around people like yourself. The event you had in Baltimore, stretch the way I thought. That helped me build my company, right? Stretch the way I process digital information, help me build my company. So I am not the sole proprietor of it, maybe of it starting, but getting to where it is now. I could have a list of names longer than a CVS receipt to say we built this, not I built this. And so that keeps me in the best space emotionally and spiritually to know that this ain't just me. It ain't just I. So, but somebody listening wants to know, hey man, that sounds good, but I can't really do nothing with that right now. At the end of the day, the one strategy I always, like I said earlier, I always look to connect. If I'm at the gym and someone's giving me any type of energy as far as speaking or I've seen them multiple times. It could be gym, it could be grocery store, it could be church, it could be my kids' school, it could be any outing I go to consistently, whether it's a library, Target. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna connect, and I'm gonna find a way to connect by finding common ground. Do you live around here? Right? Are you from here? Right? I'm gonna find a way to connect. I have a digital business card that I can text out now. So before I could, maybe ask what's your Instagram, what's your email. Now I ask, can I send you my card? Can I text you my card? Right? Because I want to connect. Because I don't know who they know. My wife taught me that there is always more information that you do not know than that you do know.
Mm.
And the danger zone is not diving into the pool to find out what it is that you don't even know that you don't know it. Right? Almost like a blind spot. You don't even know that car's right there. Right? Because it's in your blind spot. So I'm always trying to get around people that can help me improve my blind spots. I am never have arrived at, okay, this feels good in business. Like, okay, this is good. This is a good place to be. No, it's not. No, it's not. So as an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur, number one, always be looking to, I say connect because networking is just an exchange of business cards. That could lead to ultimately nothing. Connecting is a follow up, finding common
Mm.
ground, asking questions, being interested in what they're interested in, being more interested than you are interesting, meaning in a conversation, I'm asking the questions, I'm not answering all the questions. And it's weird when I meet someone like me and I'm like, hold on, you're asking, I'm supposed to be, no, stop. Let me ask you because I'm the humble one that does not want to talk about me. I want to find out more about you because maybe I know someone who needs what you offer or vice versa, right? Maybe I can help you meet someone who can help you get to the next level or solve the problem you have. I'm always thinking there, right? So number one is networking, but more connecting. Now I'm a person who I don't read 100 books a year, but I might read the same book 100 times. So with same thing with networking, I'm not saying go out and meet 80 people next month. You try to you try to almost like speed date 80 people. you ain't you ain't getting nowhere. You maybe 5 or 10 a month that you're getting to know until you get your feet wet and you feel like, you know what, I could do this with 20 people. I could do this with 40 people. But it's not about let me just get a whole bunch of numbers and act like I really know these 80 people and throw my business at them, right? Or throw what I'm trying to sell at them. Nah, I'm talking 5 to 10 quality relationships that you're building at a time because the quality of it will always take care of where you're trying to go versus the quantity of it, and then your house is built on straw, right? Because you have no basis with any of these people other than business, 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 business. They have no idea who you are, right? So I do less but get more out of it because I'm having quality conversations. So when I talked about reading the books, reading is something that I do every single day, whether it's 10 minutes or 10 pages. I'm not the I read 10 pages a day. My daughter was in the NICU for 110 days. I didn't read 2 pages that 3.5 months she was in the NICU, right? Because it just wasn't the season for me. But I did have notes from the books I had read, and I would sift through the notes. So I'm the person that I'll read Think and Grow Rich 2 times a year, right? I'll read The Magic of Thinking Big 2 times a year, right? I'm not reading 4 books a month. I might read the same book in the Bible, Proverbs chapter 1. I might read that for a whole month straight, just digging in one chapter, right? So I'm telling you the same thing as an entrepreneur. If your business runs on 4 pillars, right? If those 4 pillars are marketing, customers, your product service slash website, and the fourth one could be some type of philanthropic space, whether it's outreach. Because that's how I started my t-shirt printing business. I went and volunteered at local schools, helping them paint their buildings. I can't paint. I'm always outside the lines. But Custom Ink's not pulling up to the school in my neighborhood, who's my competitor, Custom Ink, and meeting that principal, shaking his hand, taking the trash out, right? Reading to the first graders. My competition wasn't doing that, but that was something that I did because I had the heart space. But then I realized this could be a strategy, right? So if your business runs on those 4 pillars, right? You can't take all 4 pillars. Like, just imagine it's a tent and it's got 4 stakes in it holding the tent up. You need to run those pillars of stakes out as far as you can. One person can't run all 4 pillars, right? That tent's going to start to cave in, right? So finding different people to take that pillar and run with it for your business, whether it's somebody you contract with, or if you don't have the financial means to do it right now, someone that you barter with or build a relationship with that sees the value in investing in you. But you have to spread your wings per se, but you got to find what's the thing you're good at. I'm good at relationships. That's the one thing I have not contracted out, is how to build meaningful, fruitful relationships. I have not contracted that out for anybody in any business I do, or my partnership with the wonderful Bowen family with Epic Art Universe. I do the relationships because that is the thing that I can be good at no matter what the product is. But as far as marketing for my company on social media, as far as building a customer base, as far as the products and services, I ain't an expert in all that. So I'm telling you, if you're listening, you don't have to be an expert in everything. Offload some of those things. I have an accounting degree. I can't balance a pencil on my finger, and I ain't going to try to. I got a
Hey,
CPA, and a bookkeeper. Right now, I got $100,000 college degree on the wall that says you should know this, but I ain't emotionally attached to that 100 grand enough to mortgage my current and my future because I invested 100 grand 20 some years ago. Right? I'm more invested in who I'm becoming. I'll pay somebody else who that's their thing. Right? So my thing is relationship. Find out what your thing is. What's the one thing that no one else in your company can do the way that you do? And it's probably not the actual thing. You used to be the guy always cutting the suits, measuring, doing all that. You could find someone else to do that. That doesn't take the man that God has made, Justin Shaw, to be able to do that. Maybe to grow the entire business, you got to play a part. But this part right here that my clients think's the most important, I can get that to somebody else. Because really what's most important is the thing that Justin can do or someone listening that no one else can do. But it's probably not the thing. It's probably not you cooking the meals for your catering business. It's probably not you washing the car for your detailing. You can find somebody else to actually do the part the clients are really feel like they're paying for. So, hey, I forgot what the question was, but
bro, no, just keep going. Just keep going. I don't even got an interview. Just this is the Joey B hour, man. No, go.
hey, this water is brought to you by nah,
Ah.
but listen, I'm saying what I'm saying. Listen, sometimes you've been praying all your life. Now it's time to be quiet and listen and let God speak. You always had to dominate the prayer. You always had to dominate the conversation. When you're doing your business plan, you got to always dominate where we're going. How do you know when the pivot is coming if you're always talking, right? If you're married and you're always talking, that other person is not happy. Whatever it is, take some time to listen. Just literally, no music, not the engine running in the car. Before you really get your day started, find that space in the house, no lights, and just sit there and listen to the air in the room for 10 minutes. Right? Let your thought, you don't got to say a word. You ain't got to go in there with all your worries and your cares, and just listen. And what I'm telling you is that I'm going to say God will speak. Whatever you want to call that voice that's talking, that is God. Right? Just start listening. Literally, it's a decision to shut up. It's a decision to listen. It's a decision to listen and then start writing down what you feel like you heard. If you're somebody who daydreams and you can see things, write down what you saw, because ain't nobody else see it because it was a dream, right? Just like anything we see today, this chair I'm sitting in, this computers we're on, somebody saw this when it wasn't this. Everything you see, you can't just let it pass. And I'm saying see here and here, not here, but here in your heart. Like it, jot it down. You got a note section in your phone. Hopefully you got an iPhone and not the other thing. Is a note section. Write down what you heard. Write down what you're imagining, what you're daydreaming, what you're hearing in the middle of those meetings. You're like, nah, I would do this. Write that down. Don't be a complainer. Don't be a solution oriented person. Because whoever you work with or work for, they're looking for solutions. Whether they know they have those problems or not, the person with the solution is going to rise to the top. Not the person with the most accolades on the wall, the person who's going to get something done. So I try to live in those spaces. I live in a space that I know I ain't doing this right. Even if it looks, even if it's 5 plus 5 is giving me 25, right? It's giving me 5 times, it's giving me 2.5 times more the results that I thought it would give. I still say I ain't doing this right, because I want to be in a space that if if I'm pushing yellow taxi cabs, I want to know Uber's coming. Uber's gonna be worth way more. Lyft's gonna be. I want to be open to that space that when that shows up, I jump ship and go to the Uber and Lyft mindset. I don't want to be so married to my yellow taxi cab business that now we don't have a business, because I wanted to be married to this fleet of yellow cars every day. I'm just getting off the thought of what I knew was right. So that's the space I live in as an entrepreneur, and I found fruitful. I will say this: for me to get to the next level, I know it's some growth. I know it's a relationship. I know it's some strategy. I'm open to all of it. I ain't married to nothing we do right now in business, because it only got us here, right? Just like Mr. Shaw, you ain't. I ain't seen you. I ain't seen you to get my suits resized, or get my new suit, which we'll talk. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that, because you're doing this. You pivoted without shutting down the older thing. You pivoted into your newer thing, right? Still got both of them. So many times we get rid of the last thing because we feel like we're gonna grow into this next thing. What about the last? How many people were standing on the bridge of the last thing? So now they all gotta. That's probably not a good example. Sorry, Baltimore. That is not a good example. That was bad. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was.
Oh
But
wow.
you get what I'm saying. How many people are a part of this engine that you have over here? And because you have a bigger vision for where you can see that you can help more people, you didn't destroy that last engine. You got a team of people helping you who probably bring in ideas. Hey, I was working with a client today. I think we should. You wasn't with that client, so how would you know? So what do you do with that feedback? So you need to be open to all feedback, good, bad, ugly, from your spouse, from your best friend, from your ex. Be open to it. Does it mean you got to implement it? No, but be open to the feedback. Be open to the information, because it helps you, whether it's now or later, be open to learning from other people, because there's more in the world that we don't know than that we do know. That's, I forgot who he was, but I think I'm just.
I feel like Shannon Sharp right now, man. I'm just like,
Hey,
I'm just here.
We do Cat Williams number. I'm sponsoring New Mamas for the next decade.
That was good. No, no, for real, for real. Wow. I can only say wow. I couldn't actually keep up with my notes. I had to just sit here and marinate because I had another thought that was just ringing through this the entire time that I'm gonna talk to you about offline. But, whew, man, you said a lot. You said a lot. I mean, we went from. I mean, the first thing that I could say is like Heaven Brand being the umbrella company, and you. I think. Oh my gosh, it was so many different things you said, Joey. My mind is like all over the place. Because one thing that I believe is like, and you can probably attest to this. A lot of times when people start their business for the first time and it sounds like a common business, there's still an opportunity to make it different, right? Because
Yeah,
usually when you hear people talk about, I'm gonna start a business, and people always allude to it like, oh, you're gonna start a t-shirt brand, right? And the way that you did it, right? And what I love about it is that you still made it unique. You said that you're creating a campaign that's forcing conversation starters. So it's not focused on the brand, but it's focused on the connection, which
yeah,
it's crazy how all this stuff is like just, oh man,
yeah.
this is a whole
God is
lot,
good.
Joey. Like how all this intertwined is,
Yeah,
whoo.
God is good.
Um, so okay, because I'm a little overwhelmed with all this good content right now. I almost want to break this up into like two different parts, but I'm not going to do that right now. But so one of the questions I did have for you as you were talking is because you're a master connector, right? That's a gift. And as an entrepreneur, that gift is actually essential because if you can't connect to people, then how do you ha- find the solution to somebody's problem? How do you give them the solution to the problem? And how can you meet others that you can provide that solution to, right? And so, if you had to give a practical step to somebody that was just starting off as an entrepreneur and they want to build their brand and they have no idea how to network, how to connect, like how would you break down the step by step? Whether it's in the practical or the mindset, just go because you're gonna go for 30 minutes and I'm gonna be taking notes.
Uh, the first one is, let's use an example. In your email, you said, bring some water so you'll be good for the journey, meaning however long this session is going to last, right? You knew I might need water because when you're talking, you get the preacher's voice and you turn raspy without even knowing it, and your face gets hot because of the ring light. It's because you already been on the journey. You're on the journey once a week. That sounds like mentorship. That sounds like a guide. That sounds like someone holding my hand. That's the first step. Find someone who's already been on the path. Find someone that, because you trying to learn it, all right? You trying to learn it, but okay, I'm about to be 40. Me trying to learn it, I might get good at it by 50, right? Or if I really do it every day, all day, and neglect my family, maybe 45. But I ain't trying to do that, right? But if I can find a guide, a coach, a mentor who can take my hand and say, "I'll walk with you every step of the way. Watch me do it. Watch me do it. Watch me do it. We'll do it together. We'll do it together. I'll watch you do it. Cool. Okay, looks good. We'll talk about it, strategize. Watch you do it. You know what? Let's see you go grab another hand. Let me see you in the role that I was just in. That could take that could take time, right? But that will be a much, much more simpler journey than if I'm just out here on my own, no guide at all. Because then I got to figure out A, B, C, D, E. I'm like this because I got a mentor. It trying and failing is, my gosh, it will make you run away from the field of entrepreneurship, but also the field of your dreams.
Mm,
So I would say find a coach. I found someone who was a master connector. I was connected to someone who was a master connector. I didn't even know I was looking for him. In my life, I was ready for it, right? But I didn't know what I was looking for. Just like the question you kind of posed, that whoever's listening that's brand, you don't know what you're looking for. I didn't know this was how I was going to be as an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to make money. I wanted to do it on my own terms. I wanted to set my own schedule. Everything after that was blind to. I knew what business I was going to have. I knew what I was going to give my clients. I was going to give them branded attire. But actually knowing how to pivot, how to find those right solutions for my clients or for the people and help them find solutions without even knowing if they had the problem, That came through mentorship. That came through seeing someone in action. That came through learning how to listen, creatively ask questions, so that what I ask you is not a bunch of nothing. It's literally stuff I can remember. It's people I had conversations with 10 years ago, and I asked them something, I'm like, how I ain't talked to you in 8 years. How do I remember? Because the questions I asked in the moment weren't full of fluff. They weren't full of fluff, right? So outside of building this whole system of trying to be a solutionist, get a mentor. Find you in a church, you in a church, you in a local school system. Maybe your kids go to a school or you graduated from a school. There's an ecosystem somewhere with some successful people, and they want to pour into somebody. I guarantee you. I don't care what part of the world it is. Successful people do not want to die with the success on the inside. They want someone to leave it with. Find that person. Scorch the earth finding that person or those people, because it could be more than one. Some of my mentors are in industries that have nothing to do with what I do, but the blueprint from which they live and where they grow their business, I'm able to still use some of that blueprint to affect me, right? So you might not be the so-called solutionist the way that I am. And that's why it's so weird sometimes telling your story, because people want to try to just follow everything step by step. It ain't going to be the same way for everybody. Everybody's journey is different. Be open, be willing to listen and hear, take notes, read over the notes, and absorb the information. But don't feel like your journey is going to be is like step by step, even for your mentor. It ain't gonna look exactly like what their life look like or what their journey look like. You're there so that you can decrease the you can decrease the emotional roller coaster to a certain degree. Your learning curve. I'm sorry. You want to decrease that learning curve. Man, I just paid $10 for a Saturday training on that one. But you want to decrease your learning curve as much as possible, right? But I don't want to trace someone else's story trying to decrease my learning curve. Nah, nah. I got my own story. I'm gonna have my own path to a certain degree. But I'm not gonna say, well, if such and such invested this amount in Google 20 years ago, I'm gonna do it today expecting the same return. It ain't the same Google. It ain't the same Apple. That was when TVs were black and white. That's when they invested. So you can't necessarily just take that exact thing and put your foot in their footprint and expect it to be the same mold. That's no. Take it and learn from it. Take it and learn from it, and get in that quiet space and let the Lord lead you, so that when Uber and Lyft is coming over here with these non-professional drivers and yellow taxi cabs got these professional drivers, at some point the non-trained drivers took over the trained drivers. It didn't make no sense. They've been trained for years. They got a colored car. They got all the momentum. Now, this other group over here, they got the vision. And they took the momentum, right? Getting in that quiet space with the Lord will tell you, He will guide you and say, son, daughter, keep your head up, keep your ears open. Something's coming. He ain't always gonna give you specifics. But if you never get in that quiet space, I don't care how good your mentor is. I don't care how good that business plan is. I guarantee you that mentor or business plan wouldn't have told you go with the unexperienced drivers. Go with this Uber and Lyft thing, even though this thing's been substantial for 100 years. Go with the new thing. Give that a try. Mentor probably wouldn't have told you that. So you still got to get in that quiet space. I know for some people that's not a house that they want to build their future on, but I feel like it's no better future than to live on the spiritual side. Because this side right here it's like bread. It's gonna expire. It's gonna be moldy. You're gonna throw it in the trash at some point. But the thing that keeps this going, the bean on the inside, that don't have an expiration date. So which one I'm gonna feed? Expired bread or something that can live forever? I'm gonna go with the live forever. So hopefully that helps.
Man, y'all dropped some fire in the chat, because I mean, Joey is literally delivering like gold bars. It's this is insane right now. And by the way, drop your questions in the chat too, so we can respond to them inside the chat. Because I know y'all got some questions. Because I mean, this is insane. I love it. I love this. So one thing that we're noticing as a common denominator or repetition that we're kind of hearing is that you're a master student. Like this is like you said, it's like Mr. Miyagi. You found the mentor. You became the apprentice, right? Like, what does that look like for you in terms of here's the better question to ask. I remember I read this quote and it made me laugh at first, but I'm like, man, no, that's really true. They said knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, but wisdom is knowing that you don't put it in a fruit salad, right? And so, how do you how do you determine? I had to find a way to slip that in there. How do you determine one as the student? How do you determine what information and insight to take in, internalize, and determine what to apply and what to lay to the side? Because you've alluded to a lot of different ways of how you've read every single day, whether it's 10 pages or 10 minutes, and how you consult with your mentors and all these other different things. What does that kind of look like in terms of in the world of where we are today? Is so much information available.
Yeah.
How do you discern what to apply to your life, and that's going to kind of steer you in the right direction in comparison to somebody that may be living a completely different life?
Uh, that's man, that's a good question. Um, because I don't consume a lot, meaning I'm not reading every blog. I'm not, and there's nothing wrong with people who do that. I'm not saying there's something wrong with that, but a new book comes out, I'm not always quick to just read another book because I'm seeing the same concepts in books as I read them. Okay, a different life story, a different way to pitch it, but at the end of the day, you're giving me the same concept from a book that I read 10 years ago that might come out 50 years ago. Same
Mm,
concept, different way you're outputting it. In the world of AI and technology, I think it's essential to also learn from people who are younger than you. I think it's essential to remain a student even if you're in a teacher position, even if you're the elder statesman, if you're the oldest person based on your age, or you have the most seniority at this organization you're a part of, still being open to being able to learn from the people around you. Now, I'm not always going to live by what I learn, and I'm not always going to digest everything that I learn. But you have to know what season you're in. You have to know where you are and kind of where you're going, because you could be in that pivot space. But if you're a professional learner, or you have that ability to not hold on to the systems you probably built, right? Meaning, I'm too old. I can't start that business. It's no way. I'm too old to start investing. Nah, I ain't going. Nah. So now you have systems that tell you that based on when you feel like you're going to expire or how long you've been here, risk is no longer a part of the conversation, right? So now how are you going to be a student? You ain't even open to a new idea because you have systems that you've put in place and you ain't changing that system, right? So for me, and how I believe I can help somebody is the information. Like if I'm at an information session, I'm taking notes as I'm going, right? If I'm having a conversation with someone I look up to, or even someone that looks up to me, and I could be controlling the conversation, I'm still listening for what is that I don't know that I don't know. Where are my blind spots? Could this could this 21-year-old be showing me a blind spot in the way they answer the questions? I'm so-called mentoring them, but could they be showing me my blind spots based on what they're saying? Because they live in a world of social media. They live in a world of artificial intelligence. They live in a world, a digital era that I wasn't born and raised in this era, right? So I'm willing to take on that information. I'm willing to be teachable in every space. And maybe I'm taking 5 pages of notes, right? But on Sunday evenings, I'm going through the things I went through throughout the week, whether it's contacts, whether it's events, or whether it's information. I'm gonna sift through it, keep what I need. I still got everything I got, but I'm gonna keep what I need for now. I still got all 5 pages, but I might walk away with 3 bullet points. So I'm saying there has to be uh, reconciliation. There has to be not just a one-time occurrence with the information, right? Just like dating, like you took her on multiple dates before you were like, oh, this could be something serious. It wasn't just even though the first time you saw it, captivating, man, I could see myself, but it took time. You had to go back, ask questions, get to know her. She bought you a gift. Oh man, I didn't even know I like this type of. How did she know I like what? It took that. It's the same thing with information. It can't just be a one night stand. Bam, okay, great. I heard this at an event. Oh yeah, I'm good. No, go back to it. Go back to it, and you'll see that as you journey and come back to the information, something that was there, you ain't even see it. It was there, but you changed throughout the process, and you come back to the information, and now that information from that 21-year-old, that information from that seminar you went to, you scanned over it in 2024, but in 2026, it was live and relevant to your life. So that sifting moment, and sometimes the best sifting for me has been when I share that information with a group of friends or just a group of people, and we talked about the information, and someone was like, "Man, did you ever think about it from this lens?" I'm like, I would have never thought that's what that meant. I would have never thought that this could be something we could institute in our company. I would have never thought that this would be my relationship with Epic Art Universe, who I do youth equity work with. We were at the same meeting at my mom's friend's house, talking about business and what's coming down the pipeline for business. So something that's 2-3 years out. And he said the word equity the entire time. I heard it 0 times. My partner Dion, he heard it, and all he could talk about was equity. I'm like, equity? Where'd you hear that? Like, but same meeting, he heard equity and started a division of his company. I'm like, oh man, we need to do this, we need to do that. Ain't got nothing to do with equity. Same people, same environment, same room, two different ears, two different visions. But now that he's taken that word equity and built a platform, I now stand on that platform with him. So step one, take. I'm not saying take everything in. I mean, I'm not saying scroll on social media and just watch, 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 watch. Every time a YouTube video comes up, you watch. I'm not saying that. I'm saying when you're receiving positive information, someone's pouring into your life, or you're watching a positive video, take some notes, write some stuff down, screenshot something you see on social media that you want to come back to, right? Find a day once a week. If you're too busy, once every 2 weeks, sift through it, run through it, keep what's pertinent to today or your near future, right? And then share it with someone else that you can have a quality conversation. Now that might interrupt you watching I don't know the name of the latest shows, but Snowfall I think is one, right? That might interrupt your ability to Netflix and chill, right? That might interrupt your ability to do the hobbies that you've always built systems around. Tuesday at 7, you've always watched Law and Judge Judy or whatever the name of it, right? You've always watched this. It might interrupt some of those systems and habits that they've been around, but you have no idea why you do them. You just blindly do them. You're emotionally attached to the feeling you get because it's predictable, right? But living in this space of being open to new information and getting to a higher plane of living, you might have to uproot some of those systems and habits that are in your life, but they're not really giving you a result that you want. It's giving you the result of comfort, but not the result that's really fruitful for where you're trying to go. Hopefully, I answered. I see him jumping in the chat, but I'm not sure I answered.
Man, it's the first time like I said, I feel like Shannon Sharp. I almost feel a little speechless right now because I mean, you
Oh, we
really are
can
just
gossip and get
dropping.
the numbers up. We can gossip and get these numbers up for
Yeah.
you. Let's talk about
So
somebody. We get 1 million
it,
views.
we ain't gonna talk about Shaq and Shannon feud
Shaq and
right now
Shannon.
either, but
Nah, we're
so
not going.
yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. But I mean, you dropped so many gems. I At the end of this of the show, I always like to ask what your hidden secret is. I don't even know if I mean you probably have more. So what a hidden secret is if you had to start all over today, what would you do differently throughout that process of building this up that you didn't do the first time?
I saw a movie called The Founder, about Ray Kroc, the
Mhm.
founder of McDonald's, and he shared his vision on the golf course. He shared his vision at dinner with friends, and you could see some of his friends were uncomfortable with, man, is this all you're going to talk about? And now today, you can't, as they say, you can't go 2 miles in any direction without running into a McDonald's. And so, if I could do it all over again, I would have more meaningful, more fruitful conversations about whatever vision I was seeing on the inside. I remember being in college. Now, I'm a grown man per se on the outside, but on the inside, it was a little boy in college. And when we got the rubric, I went to a small Catholic school, so 15% of your grade was called class participation,
Mm.
right? So I said, all right, bet the highest I'm getting in here is 85% because I ain't about to say a word because there was stuff on the inside that I felt like if I shared this with the room, they're going to judge me. I'm not going to talk correctly. I had all these negative systems around the voice on the inside that I never let it out on the outside. And so I lived in a prison, I mean, in college. And, I played on a basketball team. I was the point guard. I was forced to communicate by my coaches. And that area became comfortable because my teammates looked like me. But going into a class where I'm now very, very minority, I may be the only person of color in that. I just I just shut down the voice. And so that would be even conversations I could have with my parents, with my siblings. I'm the youngest, so everyone had a path before me. What could I have learned if I would have asked some more fruitful questions and not held back because whatever emotional system I built that said, "Oh, that's a dumb question." What they gonna think about you if you ask that? You can't ask her that. You can't ask him that. You're never gonna have the monuments built that McDonald's has. Not saying it's about the money or about the business, but there are things that I know that are on the inside or were on the inside that just them being spoken could change people's lives as well as my life. So if I could do it all over again, I would just have more meaningful conversations. I know I had some empty conversations that felt good that day, felt good in that moment. I ain't got nothing to show for it. Don't talk to the person no more, not doing the business, no whatever. It's empty conversation. So if I could do it all over again, I would be a manager of the conversations I have because I know that could put me in places because now it does. It puts me in places, it puts my friends in places, it puts my network in places that sometimes we don't even have the qualifications for. But because of a fruitful conversation, now we're in rooms around people and we're like, how did we get here? Like we t-shirt printers. Like t-shirt printers don't be at these type of meetings. They don't associate with these type of people. Well, these t-shirt printers do. So doing it all over again, my conversations would be so much more purposeful, and the intensity of them would drive me to my future and not to that prison I lived in because I was worried about what somebody's gonna say. They gonna always say something, right? Whether it's good or bad, people are gonna say something. I just wish I was never in a prison for what I thought they would say. And most of the time when I spoke, those Caucasian people I was afraid of, they loved what I had to say, which was crazy. So yeah, so that would be my you said hidden gem, right?
Your hidden
That would
secret.
be my hidden secret. And watch that movie. I'm not here to promote. I don't know if we're gonna get paid from them, but the founder,
Oh.
uh yeah, go check it out.
Yeah, man, listen, this has been amazing. I'm gonna let y'all know, and this is gonna be new to him. This ain't gonna be the last time y'all see him. Because yeah, this was amazing. So as far as Sports Heaven brand, how can people connect with you there? How can you add value there? Because I know that it, like you said, it's the gateway to a conversation starter. What can Sports Heaven brand do for other brands out there that are listening?
First, if you want to connect with us, you can go on Instagram, Sports Heaven Brand, at Sports Heaven Brand, all one word. You can go to sportsheavenbrand.com. Good thing when you go on there, the first thing you'll see is the ability to donate to that youth equity department I talked about in partnership with Epic Art Universe. We've had funders give to this cause because our youth in the minority community, we don't always have conversations around the dinner table that revolve around wealth, and not just financial wealth, spiritual health, um, mental health, which leads to wealth. All of the things internally, we don't have those conversations, and the people that make it don't always tend to reach back with with information, with resources, right? So we're doing that. We're doing that type of work in minority communities. So the first thing you're going to see is a pop up to be able to donate to that cause. After you donate, you can go right to the main website and you can see our clothing line, which is called Ambition. But you can also set up contact with us where we can talk to you about if you're a local business owner, you own a restaurant, you own a car wash, you own something, you own and operate a business. Sports Heaven brand will come in, help you audit the clothing side of what you do, the branding side of what you do, the uniforms, and help you create something that can turn into profit, not just something I want to drape over my employees, something I want people to wear in the community to showcase my business. We want everyone that wears your clothing to be a walking, talking billboard for your mission, your vision, whatever it is that you're doing. We help you create custom clothing, and we call it Conversation Starter Clothing. So you can connect with us on there. My personal Instagram is underscore MR Commerce. It's short for Mr. Commerce. Don't forget the underscore because somebody else had it, so I had to throw in this little random thing on the keyboard so you can find me. So underscore Mr. Commerce. And then you can follow the clothing brand on Instagram. It's ambition underscore FTP. The FTP does stand for the people, where everything we do is to help the next person. So I appreciate the opportunity to share this platform. Uh, can't wait to get at some of these questions. I know from what I can see it's buzzing. So I'm just excited to be able to share some of my mistakes, share some of my successes, because I stand on the shoulders of people who've had successes, who've had failures, and who weren't afraid to showcase it. Whether it's a book, whether it's a video, I was able to receive that information and say, hold on, let me not do that. Or you know what, maybe I should do that because someone else was willing to share their story. So I always am blessed and fortunate enough to not know how far this video could reach and who it could reach and who it could save or who it could set free. And that's the currency I live by, is helping the next person.
Man, I love it. I truly appreciate you for being on here with us, Joey. Everybody, like always, we're here every Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hidden Secrets. We'll have another guest on next week. But for now, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel to get these updates on a weekly basis. And like I said again before, if you want to have access to some of our amazing workshops, webinars, updates on all things business and startups, click the link I'm about to drop in the chat right now. And then all the information that he just gave on how to connect is going to be in the description for you to be able to connect with Mr. Butler as well too. But appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're going to see you next week. If you got some more questions, you can still drop them because it's going to run just a little bit afterwards. But go ahead and we'll see y'all next week. Y'all take it easy.
Appreciate it.